If you're over 60 and your knees ache in the morning, if a small cut takes 2 weeks to close, if you wake at 3 a.m. and cannot fall back asleep, the cause is not your age. It is 5 foods sitting in your kitchen right now. And one of them, the one most folks call healthy, is doing more damage than the other 4 combined. Stay with me, because what I am about to share could give you back the mornings you thought were behind you. I am Mary Littlebear. For 60 years, I have tended the elders in my community here in eastern Oklahoma, learning the old ways from my grandmother and her mother, going back 7 generations of women on this land. My mother lived to 91, hers to 88. My grandmother to 94, carrying water from the well her last winter. Across all those generations of our women, we have rarely seen the heart troubles, the sugar troubles, the joint troubles that fill the clinics in town. The folks from the universities have come to ask us why, and what they have started to confirm matches what the old ones always said. The belly holds the door to the body. When the belly is hurt, the whole body is hurt. And after the age of 60, something specific happens inside the belly that almost no one is told about. We are going to get to that in just a moment because it is the reason all 5 of these foods do their worst damage in your later years. Here is the order. Number 5, the oil in nearly every American pantry that quietly bends the shape of every cell in your body. Number 4, the white dust that wears down the protective caps inside your DNA. Number 3, the grain that is not the grain your grandmother knew. Number 2, the meat made in a way that turns it into a slow wound. And number 1, the master food, the single one I would remove from your kitchen first, the one that does more damage than the other 4 combined. Stay through to the end, because the master food will surprise you. 9 out of 10 folks I sit with have it in their kitchen right now and call it healthy. But before I name the first food, I need to tell you the hidden cause that sits underneath all 5. After the age of 50, the helpful bacteria in your belly begin to thin out. By 70, many folks have lost 40 to 60% of the helpful bacteria they once carried as adults. Picture a garden in the spring of your life, full of strong plants holding the soil together. Now picture that same garden after 50 winters, half the plants gone, the soil loose, the wind blowing freely across it. That is what happens inside your belly. And here is why it matters. Those vanishing bacteria are the ones that calm the gut wall, that tell the immune system to rest, that release the quiet healing compounds the laboratories now call postbiotics. When they thin out, the 5 foods I'm about to name hit your body without a shield. The same bread that did nothing to a 40-year-old burns the lining of a 70-year-old. The same oil that a young body could clear stays trapped in an older one. Hold on to this because it is going to matter when we reach the deepest fix at the end. Now let me begin where the harm runs deepest. Number 5 is industrial seed oil. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil. These oils are made in factories with high heat and chemical solvents, and what comes out of that process is a fat the human body has never seen before in any era of our history. They build up inside the wall of every cell in your body, including the cells lining your blood vessels and the cells that protect your DNA. Picture an old wooden fence around a garden. The boards are meant to be straight and strong. Now picture replacing every other board with a soft, warped piece that bends when the wind blows. Your cell walls become like that fence. They cannot hold their shape. They oxidize, which is a quiet word for rusting from the inside. After the age of 50, your body's ability to repair this kind of rust drops by nearly 40%. The folks at a research center in California followed 1,200 adults aged 60 to 75 for 8 years. The ones eating the most of these factory oils showed signs of cellular aging that ran 10 to 15 years ahead of their actual birthdays. 10 to 15 years stolen quietly from a bottle on the shelf. I sat with a neighbor named Eleanor from Bozeman, Montana, a retired school teacher of 73. 3 doctors had told her joints were just old. Her knees were swollen each morning. Her hands ached when she opened a jar. What was overlooked was the bottle of vegetable oil she had fried her eggs in for 40 years. We pulled the bottle out of her kitchen and replaced it with butter from grass-fed cows. Within 3 months, her morning swelling had reduced by maybe 70%, but the last 30% would not lift. Her hands still ached when she gripped a steering wheel. We will come back to Eleanor because what finally moved that last 30% is the deepest part of this entire conversation. The fix for now is simple. Take the seed oils out of your kitchen. Cook with butter, with olive oil, with the rendered fat from clean meat. Read every label in your pantry. If you see soybean oil, canola oil, or vegetable oil in the first 5 ingredients, set it down. But the next food does something even quieter because it does not look like food at all. Number 4 is refined white sugar and the high fructose corn syrup that hides inside it. Inside every cell in your body is a long ribbon of instructions, and at the ends of that ribbon sit small protective caps. The researchers call them telomeres. Think of them like the plastic tips on the end of a shoelace, the little pieces that keep the lace from fraying. Every time your cell divides, those caps shorten a little. When they wear all the way down, the cell can no longer divide cleanly, and that is what aging looks like at the smallest level. Sugar wears those caps down faster than anything else we eat. A study out of a university in California followed 5,000 adults for 10 years and found that those drinking 1 sugary drink a day had cell caps measurably shorter, the equivalent of nearly 5 extra years of aging. 5 years lost from one habit. And here is what most folks do not realize. When your blood sugar spikes from refined sweets, the sugar attaches itself to the proteins inside your skin, your blood vessels, your joints. Imagine a clean brass railing in an old church. Now imagine sticky syrup poured along the top of that railing day after day, never wiped off. The railing stiffens, dulls, loses its shine. That is what sugar does to the inside of your body. And remember the bacteria we lost after 50. Without them, the syrup sits on that railing longer because the bacteria were the ones who used to clean it. Please speak with your doctor before changing anything if you are taking medicine for blood sugar, because removing it quickly while on medication can drop your numbers too low. The fix is to take the obvious sweets out of the house first. Then read the labels on the things that do not taste sweet, the bread, the salad dressing, the pasta sauce. Sugar hides in nearly every jar. But what I'm about to share next surprises folks the most. Number 3 is the modern wheat in your daily bread. And before you tell me your grandmother ate bread every day, let me say plainly, the wheat my grandmother knew is not the wheat in your grocery store today. In the 1960s, scientists altered wheat to grow shorter and yield more, and what came out of those decades is a grain that contains many more inflammatory proteins than the wheat the old ones harvested. The wall of your gut is supposed to be like a careful gatekeeper. When it is irritated again and again, it begins to leak. Pieces of food that should have stayed inside slip through into the blood, and the immune system doing its job begins to attack them. That attack travels everywhere. Your knees, your skin, the lining of your blood vessels, even the small vessels in your brain. A long study out of the Netherlands followed 2,000 adults aged 55 and up for 9 years. Those eating refined wheat products daily had inflammation markers in their blood 37% higher than those who ate little or none. And remember, after 60, the gut lining is already thinner to begin with. The modern wheat hits a thinner wall. The fix is to step away from store-bought white bread and white pasta. Try a true sourdough from a small bakery, fermented for a full day, which breaks down many of those harsh proteins. Try ancient grains like einkorn or spelt, the wheat the old ones used. But there is one food that does more harm than the wheat, and most folks consider it a health food. Number 2 is processed meat and meat from animals raised in confinement. Meat itself is not the enemy. My people have eaten meat for as long as our memory goes back. The deer, the bison, the trout from the cold creek. What I am naming is something else. The bacon and ham cured with sodium nitrite. The lunch meat sliced thin and stored in plastic for weeks. The hot dogs. The meat from animals that never walked on grass, fed corn and antibiotics in pens too small to turn around in. When sodium nitrite enters your body, it can react with the protein in the meat and form compounds the laboratories call nitrosamines, which damage the lining of the colon and interfere with the way your DNA copies itself. The folks at a cancer research institute in France followed 400,000 adults across 10 European countries for over 12 years. Those eating processed meat daily had a 30% higher rate of dying earlier from chronic illness. The fix is to step away from the cured deli meats and the bacon dyed pink. Find a small farm in your area or a butcher who will tell you where the animal lived. But here is the harder truth. Cleaning up your meat will only take you so far. Because the deeper problem, the one that sits underneath all 5 of these foods, is the one I told you we would come back to. I want to bring Eleanor back into this room because her story is where everything I've been telling you finally meets the ground. Eleanor took the seed oils out of her kitchen, the sugar, the bread. She did everything the old ways teach. Within 4 months, her hands were maybe 70% better, but that last 30% would not move. Her knees still ached when she stood up from the couch. Her sleep still broke at 3 a.m., and I knew exactly why. The food changes were rebuilding the soil, but the seeds were still missing. Remember the garden I described at the beginning. After 60, you have lost 40 to 60% of the bacteria that calm the gut wall, that release postbiotics, that tell the immune system to rest. Food alone cannot replant those bacteria because the strains are not in modern food anymore. The old ones got them from raw clay vessels and unwashed root vegetables and water that ran over stone. We do not live in that world. So even when an elder cleans up her diet, the garden is still half empty and the body still in flames. I spent 4 years searching for the right answer for the folks in my community. I tried the kefirs from the store, but they only carry 1 or 2 strains. I tried the fermented vegetables, but the elders here cannot eat enough of them every day to matter. I tried the capsules from the health food store, but most of them carry probiotics that die in the stomach acid before they reach the gut, and most of them have no fiber to feed the bacteria, and none of them carry the postbiotic compounds the bacteria release. The seeds without the soil and without the fruit. It is the same reason most folks try probiotics and feel nothing. The thing I finally landed on is called BoochBod. It is a kombucha gummy, berry bliss flavor, and what makes it different is that it carries all 3 pieces in one. The prebiotic fiber, which is the soil. The probiotic strains called Lactospore and Postbiotics LM1004, both clinically studied to survive stomach acid. And the postbiotic compounds the bacteria release into the gut wall, which calm it and seal it and tell the immune system to rest. It also includes dandelion root and slippery elm, which my grandmother used to gather for the women in our community to settle the belly. I gave it to Elena. Within 6 weeks, the last 30% had lifted. Her hands gripped the steering wheel without aching. Her sleep held through the night. The food cleaned the soil. The gummy planted what had been missing. I will tell you plainly why I recommend it as a gummy and not a pill. The folks I sit with are 70, 75, 80 years old. Their hands shake. Their throats are dry. Many of them have already given up on capsules because they cannot get them down without water and a struggle. A gummy you can chew at the kitchen table while you read the morning paper. The company stands behind it with a 60-day guarantee, which means if you take it for 60 days and feel nothing, you send back what is left and they refund you. That is not a sponsorship I would put my name on. That is a clinical conclusion I came to after 4 years of looking. The link is in the description below this video. Please speak with your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are on medicine. I always tell my neighbors that. If you have made it this far with me, take 2 seconds and tap the subscribe bell so I can keep finding you with the next video in this series. And now let me bring you the master food, the one I have been waiting to share, the one I would remove from your kitchen first if I could only choose one. Number 1 is ultra-processed foods built around vegetable oils, sugars, and what the labels call natural flavors. The boxed dinners, the frozen meals with 20 ingredients, the snack bars that say healthy on the front and contain things you cannot say aloud. These are the foods that combine every harm I have just named into one small package. The seed oil, the hidden sugar, the damaged grain, the processed meat, all engineered together to make your tongue want more even after your belly is full. Here is the deepest mechanism. These foods rewire the way your body senses hunger. Inside your gut sit tiny signaling cells that tell your brain when you have eaten enough. When these cells are bathed daily in strange combinations of fats and sugars and chemical flavors, they grow tired and stop signaling clearly. Picture the small bell that used to hang at the door of an old country store. A clean, clear ring each time someone came in. Now picture wrapping that bell in cloth day after day until the ringing is muffled and faint. That is what these foods do to the bell inside your belly that tells your brain you have had enough. The folks at a research center in Brazil followed 20,000 adults aged 45 to 70 for 9 years. Those eating the most ultra-processed foods had a 62% higher risk of dying earlier from any cause. 62%. And those who reduced these foods by even half saw their inflammation markers drop within 90 days. 90 days, neighbor. A single season. The fix here is the deepest one I can give you. For 30 days, eat only foods with 5 ingredients or less, ingredients you can name without reading them twice. Eggs, beans, rice, whole vegetables, real meat from a clean source, real butter, Real fruit. Plain yogurt. The foods the old ones knew. Cook 1 meal a day at home, even if it is a simple bowl of soup. Sit down at a table to eat it slowly, the way our people used to do. Sit with this neighbor. What you are protecting is not abstract. It is the morning you walk to the porch in the cool air without your knees protesting. It is the afternoon your granddaughter climbs into your lap and your arms are still strong enough to hold her, your mind still quick enough to follow the long story she is telling. Those are the things you are protecting. It is never too late. I have watched folks come to me at 75 and at 80, and the body, even at 80, will rebuild itself when given the right food and the right seeds. So here is what I want you to do today. Whether you are 62 or 78, your body is still listening. Begin by clearing the seed oils, the refined sugars, the modern wheat, the processed meats, and the ultra-processed boxed foods. That cleans the soil. Then plant the seeds the body cannot make on its own anymore. The link to BoochBod is in the description below. Tap it now while it is in front of you. The 60-day guarantee means you have nothing to lose and a season of mornings to gain. Walk gently, neighbor. The land is patient with us. So is the body. I will see you again soon.